Hello. Since I checked us in on Facebook as flying to Greece, a few people have contacted me asking me what the flying experience was like. So I thought I'd just do a quick video just to sum up our perception of what it was like to fly. The first part of the video, unfortunately, mucked up, so I've had to re-record it, which is why I'm a bit more tanned now in this part than I am in the second. So we booked with BA about 3 weeks ago now, and everything was fine. We got sent an email from them 3 days before we flew to ask us to fill out a POF form, which is a passenger locator form, which you needed to complete before entry into Greece. Filled one out for myself and added Rob as a traveller companion. Everything was fine. Had an email from them advising they would send a QR code at midnight on the day of departure, and then you will then show that upon arrival in Greece. And then once they scan the QR code, they then decide whether they need to test you for coronavirus or not. Everything was fine with that. And then on Friday night, I discovered it was actually one QR code is needed per person, not per travelling party. So after a frantic scrabble on TripAdvisor, having a look at whatever information I could find, it wasn't really clear whether Rob would be allowed in on my QR code or not. Plus, it was too late to submit a new one because you had to submit it the day before travel. And by the time I'd realised, it was already midnight in Greece, which meant it would take us into the Sunday. So we completed another form for him anyway and just put down that he was arriving on Sunday, with just the hope that the confirmation email would be okay. So the worst thing that could happen would be he wouldn't be allowed to board the plane and he would just get the next flight. I think it was like 7 a.m. on the Sunday. So we got to the airport. Now, we always like to get there about 3 hours before if we're flying short haul, because I get a bit anxious flying, so we like to just take our time and not stress. And we thought it was going to be quite stressful anyway. So we got there 3 hours before, to be told when we arrived that we were not allowed to enter the airport unless it was bang on 2 hours before our flight. They were literally stopping people. And apparently BA had only decided that the night before. The poor staff were just getting it in the neck from everyone. I started to have a mental breakdown because, I was thinking we needed to wait around for like an hour and 20 minutes. We went down into the arrivals lounge and sat there for a bit. Then I went upstairs and just like said to the lady that it's like bang on 3 hours now before our flight. I suffer from anxiety and she let us through, bless her. So that was fine. When we got there, we decided to upgrade to business. So we went to the priority queue, which was really long. Everybody in the queue moaning about how long it was. I mean, I think anybody travelling should really appreciate, the situation we're in. You're going to get there when you're going to get there, but there were so many people just moaning about we're business and, we should be able to get through quicker. It was awful, and they were just having a go at all the staff. So yeah, not great. It took us about 20 minutes, 25 minutes to get through the queue, which was fine. And when we got to the check-in desk, she asked to see our QR codes. So I showed mine and I explained that Rob had his confirmation email, but he didn't have his QR code yet because we only applied for that Friday evening. So she showed it to me. She said to me, sorry, that there might be an issue. So I showed her the email. She said, "Oh no, it's fine. If you're down as traveller, he's down as your travelling companion, you can get on." But they're being very strict on it, and they are not allowing people to board without this PLF. So make sure wherever you're travelling to, you check on the FCO guidance, because sometimes airlines are not advising. So we got through there, and then we went into the BA lounge, which was great, really good. Had to sanitize hands on arrival, and then they told us to go and take a seat. Upon taking a seat, we had to scan a QR code. Once we scanned the QR code, it brought up a app, which then meant we could order food and drinks, and it was all table service, really well done. The toilets was one in, one out, very well managed. We then went in to try and find some magazines. There was only one WH Smith's open. It was a bit manic in there, so I left because there was just too many people not respecting social distancing. Boots was open. All of the luxury shops in T5 were open, but not many of the normal shops. So we just went into WH Smith's. There's no magazines really, so it was a bit crazy. Got some munchies and then went to the gate. When we got to the gate, there was no priority boarding. They started boarding from the back onwards, which again set the I'm business people off who were moaning. But I mean, who wants to get and sit on that plane longer than they need to anyway? Um, so we were row 5, so we were boarded last, which was fine. It took 15 minutes. It was really no drama. Um, and the guy said, I need to see your QR code. So I explained the situation, and he said, can you show me proof he's down as your traveller companion? I said, yep, here he is. And he was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Phew. Got on the plane, everything was good. All the cabin crew were fab, all wearing masks. We had to put our mask on. We were wearing our masks throughout the whole time in the airport. The only time we took it off was in the lounge when we were eating and drinking. But they're very bang on the masks, so that was really good. We got told that they would be serving on the flight a snack and refreshment, so they came around with a trolley and just gave us like a snack box with a sandwich in and an alcoholic beverage. Lovely cabin crew, they're amazing. If you needed the toilet, they just said, just make sure that there isn't anyone in there before you get up, so there's no queuing in the aisles, but really well managed. Flight was easy as, during the flight, I had some M&Ms and one got stuck in my throat. So I started like continuously coughing. There was a guy in front of us who just looked at me the first time that I coughed and gave me the evil eye. So then that made me like try and suppress my cough, but I couldn't. So then I was coughing again and he looked and I just said to him, mate, like seriously, like what are you looking at? I've got like an M&M stuck in my throat. And he was like, it's ridiculous. It's really worrying. And I just said, look, dude, it's not a continuous cough. I've got something in my throat, but I just think it shows that everyone is really on high alert. There was lots of kids on our flight. There was lots of crying. I think they just pick up on everything. The whole airport seemed really tense, and I think lots of people were really struggling with being at an airport and the whole process. I don't know how it would affect people with kids. I mean, if they're well behaved, I think you're laughing, but I think it's really hard for some kids to adapt to change. So yeah, but I mean on our flight, yeah, there's a lot of kids crying and a lot of screaming, and I feel for the parents, but the cabin crew were great and they assisted where they could. Yep, so then we landed and it was great. The landing was so bumpy. Everyone clapped. It was that bumpy. Yes, when we landed, they basically, said, we're going to be disembarking you in row order. So we then came off row by row. We were one of the first being at the front. Got on the transit bus with our masks and went in to get our baggage. That was all easy. Once we got our baggage, we then, oh no, take that back. We then went through to security. Once we went through to security, they checked our passports. And then after you get your passports checked, there's a guy there, the police officer, checking your QR codes. This was second squeaky bum time. So I showed him my QR code and he said, oh, what about his? I said, oh, he hasn't got a QR code, but he's down as my traveller companion. And he paused, and it was a very long pause, and he said, no, it's fine, go through. Yes. So we got our bags and went and met our taxi driver, and he said we just needed to wear a mask in the taxi. It was really sad talking to him because he was just saying like tourism's like 60% down. Most of the hotels haven't even been able to reopen. There's not much government help for businesses. Like we're blessed in the UK with the furlough scheme, and these people out here, they just don't have that help. So yeah, it was really sad to hear about the impacts, but it was really good as well to hear that things are starting to pick up and they're welcoming tourists in.